I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brett, lead us in a prayer, please.
Pleasure.
Pray with me. Father, we ask that you keep those who have been affected by the recent weather events, Hurricanes Harvey and Irma. Please be with them in their time of need. Also, with the large areas of our country that are on fire, keep those close who are affected and the firefighters who are trying to protect the land and its people. We thank you for the beautiful weather and ask for some much needed rain. For our men and women of the armed forces, they need our prayers. Please help them be safe and bring them back home soon. And for our school community, be with our students and teachers, administration, support staff, and Board of Education so we might succeed in our goals of educating our youth for success in the future. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Roll call.
Dr. Kincaid?
Here.
Mr. Newsom?
Here.
Mr. Riley?
Here.
Mrs. Troop? Present. Mrs. Zimmershed?
Here.
We have no comments from the public, so now we're going to have Pohio Youth Traffic Court presentation.
All right. Hi, I'm Morgan Didlake. I'm Christine Meyer. I don't know where we're supposed to
My name is Dalen Hawkins.
I'm Case Anderson.
We're also missing Alexis Swinford, Brianna Boswell, and Max Jackson. They had some stuff that they had to take care of. I'm Officer Laura. I've been, I guess, the representative for the police department for the last 4 years for youth traffic court. This is Officer Welch. He's going to be taking over the SRO spot, and in a couple months be taking over the SRO, or the youth traffic court and stuff too. So.
All right, so I'm going to give you guys a brief history on Youth Traffic Court. It was established in 1953 by the City Council. Youth Traffic Court promotes safe driving among high school students. The court presides just like a municipal court, and anybody under 18 who gets a citation, they can bring it into our court and have a trial. Students file for office in the spring, and then Student Council votes for the Youth Traffic Court officers for the following year. The faculty sponsor is Miss Betsy Easley, and in connection with the Ponca City Police Department, Sergeant Manny Laura and Corporal Eric Welch are our local police sponsors. The first court session was in 1954, and after World War II was in 1954, it has been continuous since that time.
That answers our
You
question.
made a mistake.
So Youth Traffic Court, Case gave a little bit of a background. I'll explain a little bit more about what we do in the positions. Most of the time in a normal court proceeding, we'll have 2 judges, a prosecuting attorney, a defending attorney, a bailiff, 2 court clerks, and then the whole time we're overseen by Officer Laura and Welch. It starts out the bailiff will escort in the defendant, he'll just escort her by her name, and then they'll swear them in, promise to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. And then the judge will explain what they're there for. You've been ticketed with going 45 and a 35. How do you wish to plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? And a lot of the time we use youth traffic court as a learning lesson for the kids, because they don't know what no contest means a lot of time, and they don't really know what they want to plead. So it's a good learning lesson for them most times. Then we'll go the prosecuting attorney will start off, given the case, kind of letting the kid know how serious the crime is that they committed, if they were going 10 over, if they ran through a stop sign, if they were driving too late at night past curfew. Let them know it's not really a joke, and then the defense will also give their case, kind of if the kid's involved in extracurricular activities, if they had a curfew that they were rushing back home for, just kind of try to dress the kid up, make it look like, everybody makes mistakes. But it's not just kind of a play around court where the kid just comes in and they get off the hook easy, youth traffic court. Most of the time we always sentence an essay. So they get an essay, and then we also have the choice to give them traffic school and this other school called Alive at 25, which up until you reach the age of 25, you are worlds more likely to get in a car accident or be pulled over. So hence the name of the class, Alive at 25. And if they actually don't follow the sentence that they are given at the end of it, then Officer Laura will email the court clerk, and then they'll get a letter, have to go to big boy court, not just youth traffic court, and their license will be suspended, a warrant will be put out for their arrest, and if they're not 18 by that point, then they'll get a birthday warrant, which is basically knock, 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 happy birthday, come on down with us to the jail. So, youth traffic court, I'm really glad I'm a part of it. As we were saying, we don't really have set roles. Us that kind of want to be involved in maybe law or have a career in that in the future, we always rotate. We go judge, prosecuting attorney, bailiff, or defense, just so we can kind of get a feel for all of it, get a taste for what we want to do. And it's really a good chance for the kids, high school kids, getting pulled over. They don't have that. If they come and they serve their sentence, then it's not put on their record, and they actually get to kind of have a second chance at it. It's kind of a one freebie shot, and then you better get your act right. So that's kind of what we do as youth traffic court.
Right.
All right.
Very good.
Any questions?
Yeah, I got a comment or two. I'd like to commend you guys to start with. There's a lot of things you're going to remember in high school, and there's a whole lot you won't remember. You won't remember who sat by you in third hour class. You probably won't remember who you had for third hour class, but you will remember the people that you're on youth traffic court with. Not many people in here probably know it, but Dr. Kincaid and I were both on youth traffic court over 50 years ago. I think you were prosecuting attorney one year and judge the next, weren't you? I was the same thing. And to this day, I can tell you everybody on the court. You had Jerry Orr, who was a high school basketball coach, reputable teacher. His wife, Marcia Olds at the time, Marcia Orr, who was teacher of the year. She was the clerk. Jerry was the bailiff. Vic Coates, CPA, was he was defense attorney 1 year. Mike Jones, a very famous psychologist in Kansas City, was on it. So I'm telling you, you will remember the people that you're with. And it's a good learning experience. It's a good leadership experience, and I commend you for doing it.
You guys did a great job.
Very
What
good.
we have to get to is, most people don't know it, but K County does have a scholarship for high school students that want to go into law school, so it's kind of just to give them a little preemptive thing. And the only requirement for it is that they have to live in K County for 5 years. So if they're graduating from Po High, most of them have lived here their whole entire lives.
I do have a question for Manny. Back in our day, one of the punishments besides the youth school you had to go to was a film called Signal 40. Boy, it was a gory thing about, here's what happens when you mess up and you have a wreck. It was called Signal 40 because I guarantee just the thought of having to go watch, and you had to stay awake in it because Harold Goodman was the sponsor at the time, and Ken Holmes was the city judge, the prominent attorney and recently passed away. He was the city judge who sat in with us. And you're right, it is not a fun and game court because I guarantee the first time one of them got mouthy, Ken Holmes would yank them up and say, just send them to my court. I'll take that out of them. And he would do it too. So, yeah, that was the way. But I appreciate what y'all do. It's good for you to be in it and stay involved, is all I can say.
Y'all did a great job.
Great job. Good
We
good
appreciate you.
speakers. Thanks for coming.
Yes, no problem.
You're welcome to stay for the entire board meeting if you'd like. It's up to you. You must need to study. Okay, that's exactly what it is. Thank you.
Nice group of young people.
This time we'll have the superintendent's report.
All right, first thing for 4.1 is I want to talk to you a little bit about Attendance Awareness Month. September has been deemed Attendance Awareness Month by the district and by other schools in the nation, public schools in the nation, because chronic absences are a continual problem, and it leads to poor academic performance and school dropout. And national statistics say that 1 out of every 10 students is chronically absent. And basically, what the awareness is to educate our parents on chronic absences because they don't typically seem to know what chronic absences are. If a student is chronically absent, that is 18 days during the school year. And so a common myth of parents is that it's only unexcused absences that leads to chronic absences, which is totally false. Two doctor's appointments a month will get you to the 18 days over the course of 9 months to be chronically absent. They don't realize that these absences just affect learning. They think that sporadic absences are not a problem, and parents often think that attendance only matters in the upper grades, but in the lower grades, they're building those foundations. So the more they're absent at the younger grades, the farther behind they become. So we're trying to inform parents of the importance of attendance and some of the things the district's doing, and you can see one of the signs on the door to the boardroom is that we have posters all over the district, in businesses, on our marquee, signifying the importance of attendance. We also have, if you'll go to our website at some point, on our homepage, we have an attendance awareness video that's delivered by parents that talks about the effects of poor attendance. We're sending home letters. Principals are highlighting the importance of attendance in their Rise and Shine assemblies. We have yard signs that you've probably seen across the district that says Attendance Awareness Month and ask the question, is your child in school today? One of our principals went to the Wildcat Chat and discussed. It's on our Facebook page. And then our sites are doing specific things. They're having challenges between the grade levels. For example, over at East, they're challenging first hour attendance at the end of the month. The class that has the fewest attendance first hour is going to have an alternate first hour where they have games and snacks for one class period. At Lincoln, the principal shares the previous week's attendance percentage, and whoever had the highest percentage attendance has a huge traveling trophy that they pass around. Our PI partners are involved. They're purchasing incentives for those students who meet criteria for attending a lot. They'll go into drawings. So that there's a lot we're doing. If you'll remember, we did this in October of last year, so we really don't have any baseline data. We'll collect data on our attendance incentive for the month of September, and then we will start seeing if our push has made a difference in September, and we hope that we carry on throughout the year. A lot of our sites do something once a quarter. They'll do drawings or prizes or something called victory laps. When students are in school every day, they'll get to do a victory lap. So I just wanted you to know that September is Attendance Awareness Month. Any questions about Attendance Awareness Month? Or Terry, do you have anything to add to that? Okay, the next thing is 4.2. I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about education funding facts, and Jason's going to pull up a PowerPoint for me. I know that you all have probably read in the paper that the chair of the House Common Education Committee, Michael Rogers, called reports of declining funding fake news. So there's been a lot of questions about that. So he alleged to Republican lawmakers that per pupil spending is increasing. And he actually sent an email to them with a link to the State Department Oklahoma cost accounting system, where districts report all their funding sources, which include local, federal, and state funding, which can include your sinking fund, your bond fund, your ad valorem taxes. Everything's reported in the Oklahoma cost accounting system. And yes, that does look like per pupil funding has increased. However, the fact of the matter is it's the Oklahoma's legislature's responsibility to set Oklahoma allocation, state allocation, not everything else that's included in the Oklahoma cost accounting. So I'm going to go over just a few facts with you to talk about a little bit about state education allocation. Education funding has not kept pace with several issues. Skyrocketing healthcare costs. We are given a flexible benefit allowance for our healthcare costs, and those have risen over the years, and that flexible benefit allowance has not. We have increased student enrollment in the state, and our growth in student needs has increased, and I'll explain that a little bit to you. So the fact of the matter is, since 2008, the state aid allocation has declined by $182 per student. So with everything else factored in the OCAS system, it does appear that per pupil spending has increased, but that's the legislature's job, is to set state aid allocation. So let's talk a little bit about healthcare costs. In 2009, our healthcare costs for our employees was $287.2 million. In 2016, those costs rose to $416 million, with a difference of $128.8 million that wasn't funded, that schools had to absorb. So these costs alone have left schools with $25 less per student, all Oklahoma public schools. Our student population increases since 2009 are as follows. So we have increased enrollment in the state of Oklahoma from 2009 to 2017 is 48,956 students. And even though our student population has increased, the needs of our students has increased significantly. So since 2009, the number of economically disadvantaged students has increased by 88,665 students. The number of bilingual students has increased to 31,948 students. And our number of special education students has increased 14,208 students since '09. And obviously, students from some of these subgroups needs more specific instruction, which relates to more dollars. So if the current state aid formula was funded at the same per pupil level as 2009, school funding would increase by $325 million in the state of Oklahoma. Take a look at just some of the investment gaps. These are the states in our region. I won't read these off to you, but if you'll look at Oklahoma on the bottom portion of the chart, we definitely have the lowest per pupil spending of $7,995 versus any other state in our region, with Kansas, which is 20 miles to the north of us, with $2,245 more, $2,245 more per pupil spending than what we have in Oklahoma. And that hurts when it's just 20 miles to the north of us. Overall, on average, Oklahoma invests about $1,500 less per student than other states in our region. And if you'll look down at the bottom, the audience may not be able to see this, but the region average of per pupil spending is $9,495, which the investment gap for Oklahoma is $1,023,037,447. So you can see that it is significant. Even Representative Rogers did say that he contended that per pupil spending has increased based on the OCAS data that he provided to Republican lawmakers, but he did say that we needed to increase funding in Oklahoma, and without a shadow of a doubt, we all know that, and we are feeling that. So moving forward, we need to think about some things that could take action. As you know, due to the Supreme Court ruling that the cigarette fee was deemed unconstitutional, that stripped $215 million from 4 agencies. The Oklahoma Health Care Authority is standing to lose $70 million. The Department of Human Services could lose $69 million, and the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse could lose $75 million. So we've got to think about what to do. If we do absolutely nothing, we'll declare revenue failure, and these agencies that I just mentioned will not be able to sustain, and they provide vital services to our state. So You probably know that Governor Fallon has announced she will call for a special session of the Oklahoma legislature, and I don't think there's been a formal announcement, but it's scheduled for September 25th. Representative Vaughn stuck his head in to see me on Friday, and we talked a little bit about this, and we talked about what may happen, and he was pretty non-committal. So right now, it's unclear whether the governor and the lawmakers have a plan. And without a shadow of a doubt, if there is not a new source of revenue, and if lawmakers spread the cuts across all state spending, all state appropriated agencies could lose more than 3% of their spending authority. And we certainly don't want to lose that in Common Ed. There has been some discussion that Common Ed could be held harmless and not have to, we wouldn't have to spread and lose 3% of our spending authority. Some of the discussion in regard to new revenue raising measures include passing a cigarette tax rather than a fee by the supermajority or 3/4 majority vote, maybe even reversing state income cuts for higher earners by eliminating the capital gains exemption, maybe eliminating sales tax exemptions on specific industries, raising fuel tax to 6%, or raising gross production tax from 2 to 5%. And obviously, in Common Ed, I think we would all agree that we don't want to just adjust the burden to other agencies rather than just adjust what is currently being spent. We all believe that we need some kind of new revenue. So there are the emails to our state representative, Steve Vaughn, and our state senator, Eddie Fields. Obviously, we're in hopes that there will be new revenue sources to fill these gaps, and it won't affect Common Education or the other agencies that impact the students of our districts. So any questions there in regard to education funding facts? I know there's been some discussion on Representative Rogers' statement that was fake news. So a lot of people don't understand school finance, and this information came actually from the National Center of Education Statistics, and Sean Heim with OSSBA has a good relationship with our legislatures, and he's going to work with them to help them understand school finance a little bit more. Any questions? All right. Final thing that I want to let you know is that we got our 2017-2018 accreditation status report, and basically this is our quality assurance process under which our services and operations are approved by the Oklahoma State Department of Education, and they are evaluated, they evaluate our accreditation report to determine that we are meeting the standards as required by the law in the state of Oklahoma. So the district has to meet the standards, and every site in the district has to meet the standards as well. And for 2017-2018, which was certified in October of last year, all of our sites and our districts have met accreditation with no deficiencies, which is excellent. It is a huge process. Everything has to be reported. And one thing that I can say about this district is we are transparent with everything. And if we happen to make a mistake on our accreditation or something with our accreditation officer, we just have to call her, let her know, and she'll help us work that out. LaGay Riggs is our RAO, or Regional Accreditation Officer, and she works with us diligently to ensure that we do not have deficiencies. Now, we are only allowed accreditation status for 1 year, so guess what? We get to start this process all over again, and it begins in October 1, which we lovingly call reporting season around here. All hands are on deck, takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and a lot of collaboration, and Curtis Layton will be leading that charge this year on accreditation, so It's a timely process, and it's due on October 15th, and we typically certify right up to the last minute on October 15th. But we are fully accredited with no deficiencies. Any questions there? Okay. All right,
Good job.
thanks.
Number 5, consent agenda. Need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, 5-1, 5-2, 5-3.
There a second, please?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? We'll vote.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye. Item number 6, actions, items. 6.1, consider and take action on the following district financial reports.
I'll move to make a motion to approve 6.1. We had a good meeting, finances, we kept Robin going.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
6.2, consideration and take action on the estimate of needs for the FY18.
That was that wonderful report that we got the other day and read through. I make a motion to approve 6.2.
I'll second.
Discussion? Vote.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
6.3, consider and take action on rescinded, new, and revised board policies on the attached detail report.
If you'll remember, we reviewed the policies in an open meeting last month, and we shared that information with the public. They had the opportunity to hear that, and then we shared it on our board wrap-up. So we didn't have any comments from the public on our.
Do we have a motion, please?
I'll motion it.
Second, please.
Second.
Discussion? Vote, please.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
6.4, consider and take action on the following contract agreements for 2017-2018 school year. A, agreement with United Golf Course Construction. B, agreement with Renaissance Learning for Accelerated Reader. And C, agreement with Boardwalks for software resources written to Oklahoma academic standards. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 6-4, A, B, and C.
Is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Discussion? Vote, please.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
6.5, consider and take action on change order number 1 for the Garfield vestibule remodel project.
I'll motion to approve 6.5.
Is there a second?
I'll second it because we'll get money back.
You got anything on that, Brett?
He likes that.
It was actually one of our smallest projects we've had in quite a while, and the money that we're getting back is contingency funds, just in case they find something they didn't quite see or we missed it, so this is just money we get back.
Okay.
That was our contract agreement.
Any other discussion? We'll vote.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye. 6.6, motion and vote to convene an executive session for the following purposes. Discuss the possible termination, reassignment, resignation, and employment of personnel in the attached detailed personnel report. To discuss confidential conversations with the board's attorney concerning pending claims and litigation, and discuss negotiations.
I move we join the executive session.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
We'll vote.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Mrs. Troop?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
We'll recess for executive session. We're going to return to open session. Recited by the board president, minutes of the executive session were kept by the board minutes clerk and will remain confidential. 6.9, consider and take action on recommendation for termination, reassignment, resignation, employment of personnel. Do you have a motion for that, please?
I'll move to approve 6.9.
6.9's been, motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll go ahead and second it.
Any discussion? Then we'll vote, please.
Mrs. True?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmershed?
Aye.
Dr. Kincaid?
Aye.
Mr. Newsom?
Aye.
Mr. Riley?
Aye.
Do we have any new business?
No new business.
No new business? Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Let's do it. I motion it.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
I second.
Okay.
Seconded.
I'm like, I want my.